Right, in today's vlog, my friends, I'm quite excited about this one because we're off to meet a guy called David Joyce. Now, he's an industry insider. He's a racing car driver, he's a pilot, he's a marketing expert, and some say he can actually beat the Stig around the Top Gear racing track sitting backwards eating a curly whirly. Now, he still works in the motor industry and he knows lots and lots of things about electric cars and what the future holds for electric cars. And I've been speaking to him on the phone and we're off to meet him today. If you are new to the channel, by the way, do hit the subscribe button, click the little bell for notifications of when I upload new videos. Now, without further ado, my friends, let's go. Right, okay, I also forgot, by the way, this guy's a professional diver as well. He's been in the diving industry, the photography industry, the marketing industry, but the motor industry for many, many years, racing different cars as well. I've actually known him for, crikey, I think, good grief. I met him when I worked at the Derby Telegraph. He'll tell you when we meet up with him. I've lost contact with him for a few years, but he actually saw me at Leeds Skelton Services while he was doing some car kind of thing, which he'll let you know a little bit later on. And got in touch with me and said he knows quite a little bit about electric cars now and what the industry is offering and what the industry has got planned. And I said, do you mind if I speak to you on camera about it? And can you tell me a little bit more? So we've got some insider information. There we go. Right, anyway, I'm looking forward to this. I'm also getting a bit peckish, so I hope wherever we're going to go and interview him that there's some food, because I'm peckish. Come on, onwards. Oh, and by the way, I am still in the new Porsche Taycan second generation of this electric vehicle, and it's driving me nuts because I can't figure out how to get the lane assist off, and if I go slightly near the lines there in the middle of the road, it beeps like, I won't do it now probably, it's not, I don't know what it's doing, it's like just beeping. It's odd. I have to say though, right, I'm going to tell you this, the range on this car is phenomenal compared to mine. It's been at 218 miles now for ages, and it doesn't seem to be going down. It's like it's lasting. The battery technology on this car is definitely better, so they've 100% improved this car. It's very, very nice. I will also say I would not be making this video if it wasn't for this guy, because I've made a lot of videos in my Porsche Boxster, in my Porsche Macan that I picked up, and an amazing amount of videos in my Porsche Taycan, all about electric cars. But I wouldn't have had a Porsche if it wasn't for this guy, because many years ago he bought a yellow Porsche Boxster, I believe it was, and I thought, wow, that is a really cool car. Probably wouldn't have had the yellow myself, but each to their own. And I went and bought one, and about a week later I said, you know, I've got to have one of them. So I did. I bought my first Porsche Boxster, which was in silver, Porsche silver, and from there I had many more Porsches from there. So without this guy, I wouldn't have had a Porsche, I wouldn't have had a Taycan, and I wouldn't be making these videos. What is that I hear you say? I wish you'd never bought a Porsche, then I wouldn't have had to listen to you talk about your electric car. I heard you. Not daft, you know. I'm absolutely gobsmacked with this. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there should be petrol, diesel and electric cars. I've said that. We should have choice. But this is nuts. What Porsche have done with this car have made the battery technology. I don't know what they've done with the batteries or how it uses the batteries or whatever. This range is not going down. It's like I said, 214 miles for the last 5 miles and it's been stuck on 82%. It's not moving. This car has got a way better range than my car. But if you look at it if you actually look at it, I've had lots and lots of different MacBook Pros in the past. And the initial MacBook Pro that I had, the battery used to last on it for about an hour or an hour and a half if you were doing really intensive editing on it. But my latest MacBook Pro that I've got now, I'm video editing on it with Final Cut, and the battery on it lasts forever. It lasts hours and hours. Now, whether or not that is because of the way that the computer uses the battery and it uses less energy, or whether it's got better battery technology on board, I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of it both. But what Porsche have done here is phenomenal. It really is on the battery technology. I've got to take my hat off to Porsche on this. This is a fantastic car. Fantastic car. You can't take it away from it. Right, so we're at Cromford Mill, which is the home of the Industrial Revolution. We're off now to meet David Joyce, racing car driver, motoring expert, and he's going to give us a little bit of inside information about electric cars and the motor industry. So let's get in there. Hopefully they've got some food, because as I say, I'm a little bit peckish. Right, let's go and find him. He's around here somewhere. Right, okay. David, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Lee. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. I think it's been about 10 years since I've seen you. 10 years?
Something like that, yeah.
10, 15 years. But I have known you about 30 years.
I think we've been trying to work that out. I think it's nearer 32.
32 years.
Yeah.
Now, you are an insider on the motor industry.
Well, I work within the motor industry.
No, I can't say, can you say exactly who for, or is that?
I'm an independent consultant, and I've worked with many companies, Ford, Vauxhall, Rolls-Royce, BMW. I was one of the BMW performance instructors at Rockingham when they were based at Rockingham. In latter days, Mazda. I ran a huge project for AMG, and I also worked with what's that German company called? Oh, they're based in Stuttgart. Remind me, what are they called? Porsche.
Porsche, yes. Now, have I been a bit of a thorn in the side to the motor industry? A little bit.
I guess that, that you're probably not on their Christmas card list.
as they arrive here in a brand new Porsche Taycan. But that's another story. Now, you are racing driver?
Retired.
Retired. Photographer?
Semi-retired.
Pilot?
Oh, still very active.
Very active being a pilot. Marketing expert?
Yep. Can I just stop you there, Lee, for 1 second?
Yeah.
They're starting to put electric engines into airplanes. Please don't get involved with that. Just wait until I retire from that.
That's a joke, though, right? Then really, they're having
They
electric.
are putting Rolls-Royce are currently working on electric motors in aeroplanes. And
Do you foresee a future where there's jets with electric jets?
almost certainly, but that time probably we won't see.
That's probably just as well. Now let's get down to business. So we've got the background from. I was your graphic designer for your when you was working for the motor industry years ago.
Indeed you were. And at the time we were looking at doing graphics on Apple Macs.
Yeah,
And can you remember? Nobody thought that would catch on.
I remember that. Yeah, there was people saying haters basically.
Indeed.
Desktop
And there was
publishing haters.
the PC side, there was the Mac side, and you're right, there was the formal typesetting side, which is really interesting today because here we are in the home of Sir Richard Arkwright. This is where the Industrial Revolution started.
Now I reckon that's where you brought me here for a reason. Because
Absolutely.
electric cars are the opposite.
Indeed, and there's that famous term that, now then, what do they call that? My memory's getting better since I've got in the dizzy ages of the 60s. Luddites.
That's what I get called, a Luddite.
I've seen it on your page.
I'm going to ask you straight out, right? Are electric cars the future? You've worked with many different motor manufacturers. How are they taking it on?
So you want a straight answer?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, they're not the future. Now, how surprising is that to hear me say that? I'm very passionate about EVs. Do you know why they're not the future?
No.
Because they're the present. Look over there in the car park, you've got one. Behind us there's an Ionic. So it's the present. They're not going to go away, Lee. They may adapt and they may change, but it's the present. What happens in the future? Maybe it's part electric, maybe it's part IC. We don't really know. Things are changing at a rapid pace, but they're the present without a shadow of a doubt.
How are the motor manufacturers taking on the fact that in 2035 they can't, now I need to get this right, that they can't sell or manufacture ICE cars, petrol or diesel cars then?
Well, the 2035 date has been somewhat fluid. It's been fixed in Europe for some time. In the UK, of course, it was 2030, and the current government decided that they would extend it from 2030 to 2035. Will that happen? Well, they say it will. Who knows? Watch this space. And my own belief, maybe it's a bit optimistic, but I just don't know. I think one thing to bear in mind with the manufacturers is that they can't turn on and turn off their production and their development. The manufacturers are given the target of 2030 and that's what they work to. They're probably pretty annoyed right now at having that extended, but that's business.
Do you still think we will, I know you can't foresee this, do the manufacturers actually still think there is hope for petrol cars to continue past 2035, or are they optimistic about it?
Do you know, although clearly I'm here talking to you as a supporter of EVs, are EVs right for everybody? No, definitely not, without a shadow of a doubt. And arguably I think that when you were sold your Taycan, maybe it wasn't the right car for you at the time. We all change, and we all change our work and our social activities, and maybe currently it is right for you with the current model that you've been very lucky for them to loan you. Things are changing. It's just a very fluid situation.
I mean, obviously I've been anti-EV, but I haven't actually been anti Porsche. I've always been very pro Porsche, thanks to you, because I've said without you having that yellow, do you remember the Boxster?
Indeed, I do.
Without you having that, I wouldn't have got, if Porsche are watching this, by the way, it's this guy's fault. I wouldn't have had a Boxster, numerous Boxsters and Porsches, and then I wouldn't have had a Taycan, and I wouldn't be dissing the electric cars. But I think with the latest Taycan, I've actually been, I hate to say this, but I've actually been really impressed by it. The range has actually gone up while I've been driving it.
Okay, well, technology is changing, and it's changing really month by month. Battery technology is changing, the developments are changing. I would say one thing right now, though, that whilst your car is a European manufactured car, we need to be very wary of the Chinese. They are developing EVs at such a rapid pace, and personally I'm concerned that maybe the European and maybe the American manufacturers might get caught with their eyes shut.
Do you think Tesla has got some really good competition out there?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I've been lucky enough to drive many EVs, and they're just phenomenal, and the Chinese ones especially so. Lots of development. It's just been the Beijing Motor Show. You can Google that and have a look at some of the innovations that are coming up, different battery technology, just everything. It's actually a great time to work in the motor industry.
How would you put all the negativity that's out in the press? A lot of it that I put out there as well, fires on boats and ferries. You've also got children digging up mines and mining, which you've seen photographs of. What about all the information out of
I
that?
think some of it has some small bearing in truth as to the accuracy of it globally and in general. I think sometimes that's questionable. Let's take the fires for example. If I Google or go through Facebook right now, EVs can be termed to be the son of Satan. Equally, there are Facebook groups, EV lovers. So it does work absolutely both ways. And there are the equivalents of you within Facebook that will actually promote EVs. But I mentioned fires. I'm going to ask you a question now, rather than you asking me a question. How many EVs have you passed out on the road and you drive around a lot on fire? And please, be upfront and honest.
None, personally.
What, not a one?
Not one, no.
I'm struggling with that because according to Facebook, they all catch fire. How do you account for that?
I've no idea. I have seen my diesel was on fire once, and I have to say, this is truth. I had a diesel silver BMW, which you saw many years ago.
I remember it well in France when we went to Dunkirk together.
That's it. Yeah, I think about a week after we got it, somebody it was a bus that reversed into it, wasn't it?
Indeed, yeah.
Made a little burn hole from his exhaust pipe in the bumper. But that set on fire. The engine caught on fire on the way to London.
Did that make Facebook?
I don't think it was around back then.
Okay, so you've had an IC derived vehicle catch fire.
Yeah.
Okay, but you haven't seen an EV on fire ever.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Yeah, I get that. I rest my case, my lord.
And what about people who charge who live in flats?
Well, that's a difficult one. And yeah, if you live in a 3-story flat, then quite honestly, an EV probably isn't for you. And I guess actually within the industry, some of the negativity the industry is to blame for. Particularly the staff and the salespeople are still learning. It's new technology, and they get an early adopter walk through the door. I want that electric Taycan, and I want it because it's the newest thing. Does that ring a bell?
That was me.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that they've still not studied and done the background on it, and some EVs are not for some people. And if you live on a 3rd floor flat, then EV is probably not for you. If it is for you, you've got to charge it on a public network, which I guess we're going to talk about in a short while. What would be right for them? Without a shadow of a doubt, hybrid.
You think there's a future for hybrids then?
Without doubt that hybrids are the perfect choice for many people right now.
I know that there's talks of the 911, the Porsche 911 being hybrid, so to be self-charging hybrid, and that seems to be, I think that would be the way forward personally, rather than an all-electric future.
Okay, where do we see that technology right now?
Well, the self-charging hybrids.
Yeah, where do we see it?
I don't know.
Come on, you're the MacMaster.
Self-charging hybrids.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to let me. I don't know. Go on.
Okay, Formula One.
Formula One. They're self-charging.
They're self-charging hybrids. So they gain battery power. They'll often call it regen, or more often than not, they use the phrase harvesting, and that's a really good word. It's harvesting free electricity from forward kinetic energy.
And you think that could be a way forward then?
It's already there. It's already in use. Lots of F1 technology finds its way into everyday motors. It's a great development arena.
Do you see an all-electric future then, personally? I know you can't say on behalf of the motor industry, but could you see an all-electric future, or do you think it will?
But, well, okay, I mean, let's be sensible. I know a lot of your viewers are absolutely anti-EV, full stop. And I get that, and I understand that. Do I have a problem with it? No, not really. Do I have my own views? Yes, of course. Are we all individual? Yes, of course. The future, it's really, really difficult. And no, I don't particularly see it being purely EV. I think there'll be a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then perhaps lots of something else. But you know, where that actually goes, who knows?
Do you think the date will go back? Do you think they'll put the date back 2035 again?
I genuinely do not know. I wouldn't like to guess. By that time, I'm going to be in my late 70s, and it'll be interesting to have a look back then. I remember this rainy day in Cromford and think, one of us was right.
I have to say, I've said it many times now, but the new Taycan is in a completely different league. It's just the technology has advanced really well on it. So
They're a great product, and you know, a great brand and a great mark, lots of history. Would they knowingly bring out a bad product? Absolutely not. It's just not what Porsche are about. I still own 2 Porsches to this day.
not electric.
Not electric, no. Well, they've got a 12-volt battery, both of them have, but certainly not electric. One of them has beautiful 2 turbochargers in the back of it, which is gorgeous. Going back to the future, I don't even know what's going to happen. Maybe people talk about hydrogen. A lot of work's being done on hydrogen. Is it suitable right now? Probably not. It brings with it an awful lot of its own issues, and we talked about fires a minute ago.
Yeah.
You want to see a fire, hydrogen does that really well.
So that's going to be even worse.
There are issues, hurdles to get over.
You must miss. If you're a racing driver, you've driven many cars, and the sound of the engine, it's got soul, it's got passion, but an electric car, come on, be honest, it's lacking something.
It's certainly lacking the oral experience, without a shadow of a doubt. But do you know what? Sometimes that's made up by the sheer performance of the things. They're just phenomenally quick, and the way they deliver the power, it's very linear, it's instant, there's no turbo lag, so one sort of offsets the other. Incidentally, maybe one of my true concerns about EVs is that we're giving supercar performance to people that maybe don't have supercar ability.
I've mentioned that before, because you literally got, you know, teenagers who've just passed their test, and you're giving them something that's like a rocket.
Yep, the Taycan that you've got over there will outperform, well, we'll take an example, something like a 10-year-old 911 turbo, and it's quicker.
It's insane, yeah.
I'd have to say that, to be fair, that's probably not the sort of car that a 20-year-old lad working in the local factory is gonna buy right now, but in 10 years time that might be within his remit to actually afford something like that. So we'll see.
Do you know, I don't want to. I know I'm a bit of a thorn in the side to the motor manufacturers, but I do feel for them, because I feel like they've been put into a corner, and you must produce electric vehicles because you can't produce. It's like they've been told they cannot produce internal combustion engines anymore. Your business remit, what you do there, you can't produce it anymore by a government.
I agree. It's totally wrong. It would have been far better to get to EV usage through natural selection, without a shadow of a doubt. But you know what? We're about to vote in a new government, or have the chance to retain the existing government. Do people make their voices known? Not really. If as many people complain on Facebook about EVs could be bothered to go out and vote, maybe they'd be able to stop the trend.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. But the infrastructure, the main part of the problem with EVs is, first of all, cost-wise. the cost is like, you've got to admit they're expensive.
The cost is probably not proportionate to the vehicle. Why is that? Again, I don't know, and I don't work solus for one particular manufacturer, and never will. But maybe they're trying to get development costs back quicker than perhaps they could do. Maybe they've had a drop in general sales, and maybe they're trying to recover that. It is difficult to understand what's going on. Do I think they're expensive? Yeah. Do I appreciate the technology that's in them? Yeah, absolutely. And it is truly awesome. Going back again to the dealerships, then maybe they can take some of the blame on their shoulders.
How are the dealerships, not the manufacturers, but how are the dealerships and the salespeople? I know you've worked with salespeople. How are they taking on board the fact that they've now got to sell electric vehicles?
Well, it's a completely new learning process, isn't it, really? And they're actively learning. There's a lot of money being put into learning and teaching the dealer staff, quite rightly too. In general, they're very receptive to people like myself that go out and actively train them. They genuinely want to learn. It's an ongoing process.
Are there any Luddites in there who don't want to take it on, or?
Yeah, without doubt. You can be talking to a group of people and you can hear some of the whispers in the back. Is that a bit naive? Well, yeah, maybe, because I said earlier on, it's not the future, it's the present. So, they make their living by selling motor cars. And, EVs are part of that living. And it's growing exponentially as well.
More and more. See, there's conflicting figures out there of whether, you might know a bit more of this, where people are saying, oh, electric car sales are on the increase, and then you'll get a conflicting story saying, no, electric car sales are actually on the decrease.
It depends who you listen to, Lee, doesn't it, really? It's I've just spent quite a lot of time working in dealerships, and from personal experience, there's a lot of interest in EVs. Is it fair to the dealers that maybe potential customers and people that would consider an EV are being put off by people on YouTube slagging EVs? Maybe not. Because it's you can call it they're being influenced by influencers, I guess, can't you?
I mean, I will be honest, I've only given my honest opinion, and as a daily driver, driving a long way. You actually said, though, because I drive from sort of like Leeds and Mansfield to my place in the countryside, and you said it's probably not really the car for you.
I don't think when you were sold the Taycan it was the car for you, and perhaps if they'd have said that to you, you might have thought twice. Maybe you'd have just taken the view, I've known you a long time, and you're a passionate adopter of technology, and rightly so, because it's your thing. Maybe the dealership should have pre-qualified you better at the time. Wouldn't it have been better in a 911 turbo?
Oh, it would have been amazing.
What about that from an EV lover talking about a monster turbo machine?
Would you be sad if the 911 went all electric?
I think I would, yeah. Would I appreciate it, and would I drive it or aspire to own one? Yeah, I would. Because things change. Remember where we are now. Things change from all the cotton was spun and weaved out in the countryside, and we've got a massive mill behind us that Arkwright built. And electric, petrol, same thing. The clothes we're wearing now, we wouldn't be wearing. We'd be wearing really poor quality clothes had it not been for the early adopters.
I think there's a reason he brought me here. Finally, the infrastructure, the public charging network.
That old chestnut. Yeah.
I mean, I have been there. You've not had a problem. You've driven many electric cars with your job, different brands, and I've had an issue where I've driven on busy times and bank holidays. I've done it all for video, where people have said it's all orchestrated and scripted and how I film it. and it isn't. It was just reality of they were there. I haven't hired actors to, you know, put the cars on charge.
Okay, so absolutely the infrastructure and the charging network needs to get better. Is it absolutely abysmally poor? No, it's not. Um, like you, I've driven EVs for months at a time. That's my daily driver. And you learn to use the different apps. ZapMap is a brilliant one. I don't know if you use ZapMap.
Yeah.
It's absolutely superb. The apps within the cars are really important as well because they talk to the car. You can get more range out of your car by using the app in the car or the onboard sat nav. Why? Because it very cleverly knows you're going to a charger because you've told it, and it'll precondition the batteries. Something that I don't believe you were told originally.
No.
You know, so a little bit of a down tick for the sales teams. But generally, the charging network, people are lazy. And let's take, for example, I know you filmed one in Leeds, the Ionity in Leeds, because I was there when you were actually charging.
You were? Yeah, I didn't see you, but you saw me.
Yep, I was, and I think you were interviewed by BMW at the time, and we were working with the i5, another great car. There are 6 chargers there on a huge motorway services. I did see times we were there for over 2 weeks, and I saw times when it was empty. I also saw times when it was absolutely full and with 4 or 5 cars waiting to charge. I would say though, if you went a mile away or a mile and a half away, there are empty chargers, and that's part of the problem, that people charge because they're lazy and they're pulled into a motorway services. And the other thing is, within the motorway services, this internal infrastructure isn't brilliant because they weren't set up to take that amount of power to charge an EV. So even some of them are running on biodiesel generators. Is that a wrong thing? Well, it's biodiesel, so no, maybe
So
not.
some of them are running on biodiesel then?
Some of them are running on biodiesel as an interim measure, but that's really to feed the need and to expand the small infrastructure they've got at that particular services. But drive a mile and a half away and there are empty chargers. And what I'm going to do is next time I'm out in EV, I'm going to film it and send it to you.
All right, well, I shall I'll publish that one then. You can show me. So, final thing then, in 10 years' time, I know you can't foresee the future, you've not got a crystal ball. If we sat here again in 10 years' time, how many cars in the car park will be electric and or how many will be petrol?
If I was forced to give a guess, probably 30%, but that is a guess, and that's not from figures that I've been privy to. You know, that's a pure guess. Would I like to see it more? Yeah, of course I would.
You'd like to see more electric cars?
Absolutely, yeah. Do I think petrol's dead? No.
You think petrol will be around for a while?
Yeah, marriage made in heaven, 2 together.
Hybrid?
Hybrid as well.
That's it. Brilliant. Thank you very much, David Joyce. There you go. Brilliant. I'm going to eat my, what is it, chocolate muffin now that the Raven's been looking at. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I didn't know whether you'd been sent by the motor manufacturers to silence me or...
Oh, that's the blokes in black round the corner.
They're coming for me now.
Great to see you again.
You too, David. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Bye-bye.